Right.
All right, we're live. Yes, we're live for 4 seconds. Oh, where did Taylor go? He jumped out. Where did Taylor go? Did he just fall out of the screen just then?
Yeah.
I don't know where he fell.
He's coming back.
Are you better?
Maybe it was something I said, Mikey.
This is a new series we're going to call Friday Fire. It's about positivity. It's about motivation. It's about education and inspiration. And you just went back. Now you are. So the whole point of this series is to, inspire, educate, and motivate. And I have my co-host Taylor, who just disappeared. I don't know where he went to, but now he's back. Taylor, all right. So the guest today is my good friend Rich. Taylor, you don't know Rich, but I'll give you a little story about how I met Rich. I was doing a podcast. I think it was Kevion's podcast. I might be wrong. And then I did Drama's podcast, and Rich and I connected. Rich bought a bunch of my books. He's a kick-ass real estate owner in Las Vegas, super motivated, just a gun of a guy. And he flew me out, and then we went to Tucson together and did this incredible keynote together, the Leverage Festival. He got me on that, and then he also got me to work with his friend Scott Acton and do a bunch of stuff. So the reason I want to put Rich on the show is, first of all, he's an incredible human being. He's super motivating. He's a family man. And I wanted to talk about what's going on right now in Las Vegas, especially because people have been out of work and now we're making that transition into work. So welcome to the show, Big Rich. And
I appreciate it.
Okay. Is it that?
So I appreciate you having me on, Mike. Vegas has been in a, new spot. Right. So in 50 years, the strip has never been shut down, and we were shut down March 18th. The casinos went dark for 78 days, and they just opened it up yesterday. And you can feel it in the city, anger, the fear, and a whole bunch of different feelings going through. It's like a dark cloud throughout here, and it has been amazing to see the city bounce back. As you can probably see behind me, I'm taking this little meeting in my country club because we just opened up this week as well. So we are packed. It's nice to see people going out, walking, and not being led so much by fear. They are making decisions for themselves.
Where did he go?
We lost Rich.
Where?
Rich has disappeared into the darkness. All right, we're on standby. Let's see.
Am I there? Can you guys hear me?
Now I can. Where'd you go? Rich.
Come on. I'm here.
What's going on? He's in the country club.
I'm here. I said country club and everything went dark.
Lights are out now.
I like how he just completely lied. Vegas is being dark. They're coming. Where'd you go?
Well, let me come out and come back in real quick, guys.
All right. So, well, we didn't expect that. This is what happens when you go live.
We're having difficulties.
He disappeared on us. This is the first one, and I love how he said, Vegas has been dark. We're back, and disappears.
Just rogue silence. Oh, here he is. All right.
All right, let's go. All right.
Yeah,
it was the general manager. He went dark on me.
So you were saying Vegas has never been like this in 76 years, correct?
Yeah, so it's been amazing because even after 9/11, the casinos never closed. During the recession we had, casinos have never closed. The day after our governor announced that he was shutting down the strip, it was eerie to, I woke up at 5 o'clock in the morning and drove down the Las Vegas Strip to see the silence. And it was similar to a movie like I Am Legend, where nobody is out there. And I think the toughest thing, Mike, is to be in this environment where it is dark, right? And to hear when I walk out, my daughter tell me, Dad, put on your mask because I don't want you to get the corona. And I've said it multiple times. I think the children being raised during this time are going to be just as bad emotionally as the children that were raised during the Depression, because they are afraid of people, they are afraid of being out, and they're afraid of groups. So their current surroundings and examples are being placed with this bad feeling of fear, to the point to where we as adults, friends, and peers need to be conscious of that. My daughter's 5th birthday was surrounded by stuffed animals because she could not have her party. And she asked my wife that evening, why can't I have a party? Why can't friends come over like they did for Sebastian's?
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
So Taylor, I want you to jump in because Taylor's a little younger than us, right? Now, you only graduated how long ago, Taylor?
I graduated college in 2018. So I'm
so Rich is a real estate expert. So like, you're a young guy, you want to invest in property. Rich, what advice do you have for a guy like Taylor? He's only 24, right, Taylor?
Yeah.
What should he be doing now? Where's the market going to go?
So I believe that you're going to see more people move into rentals, right? And I get the question off.
Oh no! Right at the question. That's the
Like
what a cliffhanger! Oh. Tune in next week, everybody. You'll find out what Rich recommends. Oh.
Where is this country club?
This country club's out in like Area 51, I think. They're hiding, man. All right, let's hope he jumps back in. Let's see. All right, this device is now connected.
Guess who's back?
That's a cliffhanger of the century right there.
So I think the biggest thing now, Taylor, is that start looking for investment properties, because people are going to become renters, and they're going to always need somewhere to stay, right? I believe you're going to see people leave some of these high rises because I've heard that they're going to limit the number of people in elevators, which makes a lot of sense, right? But it's going to be something. So I've got clients that are invested in high rises here, and people are like, maybe we need to move into suburban areas, right? I think you're going to see a huge shift in the office market because
I can't hear him now.
Oh, we lost you there for a second.
did you hear it?
No, we missed that.
Yeah. So I think, so you're going to see people more comfortable working from home. I chatted with the architect today from Gensler, and his big study is, how can we give people a work environment at home so they can be more productive? The biggest fear was when people went to home offices that their productivity was going to drop, and it really hasn't. Their productivity has gone up.
Wow.
So if we look at the commercial space in regards to some of these office buildings, attorneys, real estate brokers, insurance agents, it's going to be, I think the bigger ripple effect is going to be in the commercial developments, where people aren't going to have to come into because of the convenience for them to do more from home.
What do you think might happen with the commercial buildings that start to lose those people renting out the space, or that are taking up that space? Are you going to see it maybe turn into, like, I don't even know where that could go. From your experience, where might you see that happening?
Well, the first shift was when they got rid of the big boxes, right? The Sport Chalets, the Circuit Cities, Bed Bath & Beyond, some of those larger boxes. So the commercial brokers are having to make big changes now, because the next wave is going to be office space. Right. So it's going to have to be creative in regards to that existing space, and who can you bring in to do it? Restaurant models have changed because more people are ordering takeout. Like if you look at Papa John's business has gone up 35% because they were set up already for the takeout. So in the midst of all of the chaos, there's going to be opportunities, as long as we are not making decisions based on fear. Right. So it's finding that that chaos and making decisions looking at 5 or 10 years down the road, which is difficult to do because everybody's calling now and they are afraid.
Dude,
I wonder what keeps happening with that.
his connection isn't good. I want to ask him a question about the market in a sec when he comes back from the country house.
I want to ask him. I want to ask him what kind of service he has for Wi-Fi.
I'm going to say, did he just get dial-up Roadrunner? He's working on a flip phone.
He's not using an antenna on the top of his.
God, all right.
You see what I like, Mike and Taylor, are the cliffhangers so that people will reach out to me so I can answer the questions.
We're giving you good leads here.
Yeah. And you guys will get, there'll be a kickback on everything.
Hey, Rich, I have a question. So, okay, the market, what is the difference between what's happening now and what happened in 2008 for a real estate, for a young kid, for an older person, because we know the stock market went into the toilet, and then a lot of people had investments in the 401k and the S&P. So tell us what you think in the next 5 years, what's going to happen to real estate and where is it now? How much has it dropped?
So the first question, Michael, is the difference is that this was started by pandemic, not an economic crisis. So there are quite a few people with a lot of cash sitting on the sidelines.
Oh, cool.
What you're going to see, and this is what that architect said, is that we've kind of taken a break. So imagine pulling a slingshot. So we're currently being pulled back. And as we come out of this, we're going to come out stronger, right? The difficult thing is that the people that are going to struggle are going to be the entry-level income earners, because they might not be able to recover from 3 months without income. So This is totally different than 2006 and 11, because this was brought on by a pandemic. So we're going to see a ton of cash looking to purchase properties and looking to purchase investments. It's going to hurt the mom and pop investors who own 5 or 10 homes, and then their tenants have not paid rent for 90 days. They cannot, very few investors have 6 months liquidity per property to keep going. So there's going to be opportunities where these smaller investors are going to sell the homes that are not making them the most money to keep the ones that do make them money.
Tyler?
Yeah, so something that I see a lot on Twitter, and these are from younger people, the people who are renting, is that they were giving a lot of these landlords flack and saying, it's not our fault that you decided to be a landlord and that now you have to pay. And it's like, people are trying to say, it's like, you shouldn't be charging us rent. We shouldn't have to pay rent and all this stuff going on. But for me, being a 24-year-old, and I've taken the time to research about investment properties, how to get into that at a young age and everything, it's not it's like you still have to pay rent. The landlord's the one who took the time to save up. They were the ones who took the time to build their wealth and their equity and their passive income. And they still have to pay somebody at the end of the day. And so it's not their fault that these people aren't taking the time to maybe save up the money or to build that wealth to then invest in their own properties or their own passive income. And I think it's just an interesting dynamic that people are so quick to hate on the landlords, but it's not their fault that they still have to pay stuff really at the end of the day. And I don't know, that's just from a 24-year-old's perspective on it, because I think that it's our responsibility as individuals to build our own wealth, to build passive income if we want to be able to not worry about paying rent to other people. Then that's on us as individuals.
And the funny thing, Taylor, is that I've got friends who own commercial property and their tenants were AAA restaurants, reached out to them as soon as this happened and said, we're not paying rent. And what you're going to start to see is a lot of these companies that are filing bankruptcy so that they can retain the high performing assets and get rid of the low performing assets. And those assets are typically in lower demographic areas. So those lower demographic areas are going to get hit again, because now they're going to have these commercial centers that are not going to be full with a JCPenney or a Kmart that have been there as a staple for these communities for so long.
Here's a question: What advice do you give to kid Taylor, 24 years old, just started out in real estate? Now we've got the COVID, we've got social distancing. What does he do? How does he build his network? What's some advice you give him?
He's going to reach out to successful real estate agents in your area, right? You're going to reach out and let them know how they've gathered their rental properties. You're going to reach out to somebody and say, I've got this money that I can invest. I'm looking for a income property that can generate money for myself. I work with some younger guys and I tell them, I'm like, this is what I'm looking for. And currently right now, what people are looking for are suburban areas with less dent so they can use the walking trails so they can get out and move around. We're seeing a lot of people, at least I am, leave Southern California and moving to the desert, whether it's Phoenix or Las Vegas.
Wow. Southern California, I'm born and raised in Orange County, and I went to school in Boise State. And it's as if like Southern California is finding like their new home in Boise too. And and Boise or Idahoans, like they're hating it though, because it's driving the cost of living up, and it just isn't equaling out right now. So it's definitely throwing off their economy a little bit.
Well, there's been, if you look at that Boise paper, like they will chase people in town, Mike, who have California plates. And they will put stickers on these cars with California plates that say, go home, because it is driving the cost of living up so much there.
Wow.
So in the midst of all the chaos, Taylor, I would say look at the small mom and pop, real estate brokers that have the time to help you find that deal that that you can hold on to. Potentially even get a couple of friends to come in together for an investment property and form an entity to grow that.
Yeah, I've spoken with a friend about that actually, who lives in San Francisco, because we were thinking about that possibility to where then we can diversify more, build more equity, and be able to then diversify into more properties too. And I think like real estate investing, I don't think is talked about or is as in as much conversation amongst people my age as I think it needs to be, because it's just it's a great gateway to building wealth and equity and passive income for your life.
Yeah. So I tell my friends and clients, helping somebody buy or sell a home is the most important decision that somebody will make, second to their children's education, because a lot of times you can take a second mortgage out on that home to pay for that. And the biggest issue on that climb for wealth is you can never really create wealth if you're renting.
Right. That's a really good question. So, all right. So I'm glad you said that. So Grant Cardone is always like, don't own your own place, don't own your own place, don't save your money. He's always like, but he has a lot of rental properties. So do you agree? I believe you need to have money saved, because if you have, doesn't matter if you get hit by a car, something happens, you always should have something. Here's the opposite. Don't save anything, don't have anything in the bank. What's your philosophy on it?
Well, I believe, because I lost it all in 2006, that you should always have a cushion, right? So in 2006, I had 6 friends commit suicide, right? So there is something to do when you're fearful about being able to provide. So you should always have a reserve fund. So once you've paid yourself first and you own your home, then you go invest. You don't invest in money that you cannot lose. Exactly. And I think and I believe Grant's having some issues right now with some of his investments because he was so highly leveraged.
Right. There's the point. I like when you said cushion, because if you fall onto concrete and you don't have a little cushioning, it kind of hurts.
Correct.
A little bit.
How about you, Tyler? With this young generation, you're younger than us. What are the young? I hate to use the word millennial, but the younger kids think about savings, about what from your perspective, what do you think?
I think that so the entrepreneurial and the investing game, I think, are getting much more integrated into like the high school levels right now. Like I'm a youth leader with like young adults, but like high schoolers. And I was with a few the other night, and some of them were seniors in high school, and one had just graduated, but they were on Robinhood. They were going super hard, just talking about stocks and investment, what their portfolio looks like. And I remember for myself, like I was starting to gain a lot more genuine interest around like my sophomore year of college. But I didn't really start really investing until I was like 21, 22, if anything. And I'm hearing a lot more conversation and seeing a lot more of that now in the younger groups. But I don't think what I said earlier still, I think, holds is that real estate is not talked about heavily still in regards to that investing side of it. But I'm seeing like Gary Vee is just like definitely integrated into the high school group, into that demographic now, and it's stirring a lot more ambition. Just for even my experience getting reached out to by high schoolers to do content for me or to do graphics and stuff like that, and it's cool to see that because social media wasn't really as accessible when I was in high school, or at least this type of social media, like what we're doing right now, like
Right.
that was the thing.
I like that. I like that. And how about now, Rich? You can't. How are you knocking on doors now? Are you knocking on doors?
I am.
You walk up with a mask.
Yeah, yeah. So I've
I've
upset some people, right? But I know that people are home. And it is this, we knocked on this door the other day, and this guy's like, "Hey, I want to move to Knoxville," and he owns the house outright. So it is just having that conversation with people. Why are you moving? And it's, I want to be closer to my kids. And I was talking to one of my agents. I'm like, it's not about closing right now. It's about caring. If you care enough about your clients, the close will come. And it is just being a soundboard for people, because a lot of people just want to talk, right? It's the same thing with friends that are running for political office. You just want to see how everybody is doing. I've got an elderly neighbor, and I know that she's fearful about the corona because she's susceptible. And I've reached out to her and I said, "Hey, if you need groceries, if you need something picked up, let me know." And, you can hear her well up. And she asked, "Why would you help?" I said, "Because now we're supposed to, more so than ever." So I'm still door knocking, Mike, but it's more, instead of trying to close that deal now, it's letting them know that I want to be an option or a friend for them down the road. Because I'm not thinking about the money now, but I want to be a asset and a tool 6 months to a year from now.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Providing that value now up front and just building that foundation of their relationship.
Yeah. I mean, and right now everybody is, and I've told you, Mike, is everybody is yearning for a leader. So it's being vocal with what you're doing, being helpful, and then assisting others, right? Be kind, be helpful, be of service, be authentic.
Yeah, agreed. So here's a question for both of you then. So you go first, Taylor. What do you look for in a leader?
The leader, I'm looking for somebody who is able to be vulnerable and who's not going to shame other people as a means to build themselves up or build other people up. I think it's important for a leader to be as transparent as possible and to help build up those who they're supposed to be leading, rather than making them feel lesser than them, to make them feel as if they are at that equal level too, and that they know that there's that support system if needed.
Rich?
Ditto. When I'm looking at leaders, I want to have somebody who can be vulnerable and authentic. I want somebody to guide me and show me the way, but I want them to know that they're not asking me to do something that they have not done themselves. Well, I want that leadership. I want that leader in front of me, not on top of me, telling me where to go. And it's like Taylor said, authentic and vulnerable, right? And I think that we've been taught that we need to be forceful to be a leader, and we don't.
Yeah. I'm going to add one thing to that: emotional and social intelligence.
Yeah.
I think that's what we lack in our country right now. We lack empathy, we lack compassion, we lack emotional, we lack social intelligence. I wasn't going to bring this up, it's not political, but like someone sent me that, I I didn't. I looked at most of it. The girl Candace, the political girl, and she's very articulated. She's from Stanford. She said stuff that I can appreciate her map of reality. But the one thing she didn't hit on, and she's so far off, is she didn't talk about addiction. She didn't talk about motivation. She didn't talk what puts a person. She shamed a person. Talked about everything negative they did, but she didn't know that. She doesn't look at addiction. She doesn't look at what the person has suffered to get to that point. I think that's the problem right now. People aren't looking at other people and what they've gone through to get to this point. And we lack that. We lack that emotional intelligence to say, wow, what's driven a person to act in this way? You know what I mean? Because there's right and wrong, and people are on weird sides right now. But if you can't see what's right and wrong, then you're delusional. And I don't want to be bringing up about that, but there's a big discrepancy. And the fact that people are like saying there's not a discrepancy, to me, is that lacks emotional and social intelligence. What do you guys think?
It's, empathy is when you've been in that situation, right? And you've got everybody has an opinion until they're in that same storm.
So here's a question, and I'm going to ask Taylor, and I'm going to ask you the same questions. Do you believe because someone hasn't been in it, then they prejudge or they can't understand what has taken place?
Yeah, I think so, because a lot of time it's like a roadmap, and that, it's like the map is not the reality. And so it's like you can see the map, you can see the higher picture, but you're not seeing like the roadblocks that are in the middle of the street. You're not seeing the divots in the road. You're not seeing maybe like the hill that's going up. They're not showing that on a flat map. And so I think when people look at the map, they're assuming, and they see you as that map, they just assume that it's just this one route, or that you're this person because they're seeing the end destination, but they don't understand the actual walk that you're going throughout those roads on the map, through the mountains, through the water, through everything that you're going through. And so I think that it's easy to make a predetermined decision, myself included. I'll do at times where it's like early morning in the gym for some reason. I'm like, maybe it's because it's really early and I'm pissed off or something like that. And I'll see someone, it's kind of like, oh, get out of my way, like idiot or something. And it's like that first kind of like annoying thought that can happen. And I think it's important to be consciously aware of that, so you can always catch it though and go back to center, because I think it's a natural instinct that we have, just like to have a premeditated judgment on people.
All right, Rich, before I let you go, give us, first of all, where can everyone find you on social media? Then if they're, looking to sell their house or buy a house, you're the guy. So it's up to you. Say whatever you want.
I just want to be here. I want to be here to help and serve. And you guys can find me on Instagram and Facebook at Rich Robledo. And I just want to be an asset, right? Our industry has been looked at, roughly for several generations. And I want people to know that there are those agents who care, and we're here to walk you through that process and take care of you.
Love you, brother.
Love you guys.
Yeah, thank you, Rick. I appreciate you jumping on. It's a pleasure to connect with you, and thank you for sharing all your insight to people watching.
And give me a shout, Taylor, if you want any help, man. I believe
Appreciate it.
We need somebody to help to get to that next level. And I appreciate you guys getting me out of my comfort zone to come on today.
Absolutely. Oh, dude, come on, dude. You were going to come on. You had no choice.
I did. I said yes.
You said yes. This is not uncomfortable. This is a bunch of dudes talking about real stuff.
This is just growth for me, Mikey D. I appreciate you guys.
Absolutely. All right, everybody. Cheers.
Love you guys. Bye.
That was so good because